My name is Runyu. I'm an international student from China. Right now I'm studying at Trinity University, a liberal arts college in the United States. I would say 2020 is a quite challenging year for most of us because of the pandemic and have been back to home for more than 2 years. Due to the great change in the social environment, international students in the United States need to face various difficulties and make choices. However, I'm not the main character of today's story. I want to show you the quarantine life of two Trinity international students from Asian countries. And here we go. Yushan Liang is an international student from China. With the pandemic just happened, he chose to go back his hometown. So I wonder, what made him make that choice?
Because the COVID started at Wuhan, right? At January, actually December, someone just talked about the rumor of the new COVID virus. Initially, I thought it's gonna be same as SARS. So at the beginning of COVID, I just think, it's gonna pass maybe 3 or 4 months, so I can go back, continue my university life. We just decided go back to China because we are reacted very fast. We have a system faced with COVID-19.
China has taken one of the most ancient strategies for infectious disease control and rolled out probably the most ambitious and I would say agile and aggressive disease containment effort in history.
And moreover, as my mom said, you must come back because when the COVID getting serious in US is like spring break, and that is that's pretty hard to go back. I and my roommate Willie Minchen, who are also international student in China, and we come back, go to LA, Los Angeles first, and go to Taiwan, and rest there maybe a day. We will just stay at the airport and go back to Shanghai. And at the Shanghai airport, we just isolated in a small area who are also maybe come back from other country and stay there. And we spend another night at there. It's pretty cold, and we go back my hometown and quarantine.
Like Yushan Liang, Ville, an international student from Vietnam, also chose to go back to her hometown in 2020 spring break. One interviewed with her because she was still in Vietnam, so I had to video call her through Zoom.
Last year, when the pandemic started, I fly back home to Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, and it was a decision that we made to fly back home because my parents felt like, because at that time the pandemic was really scary in the United States, and so they were like, okay, Vietnam is less serious, less having that serious problem compared to the United States. So just fly home and then we'll see what happened from there.
Yushan and Vi both chose to return home when the pandemic just happened in the United States. Let's see how their life is in their hometown.
Basically, in China, I think it's pretty safe, even though we don't have many patients. But we need to wear masks and keep account which are gonna trace your position, and it must be green, and so you can go everywhere. Then I travel many places such as Qingdao, and also I get familiar in Beijing.
For the past year, I felt like not everything is changing, but then my vision towards everything has been shifted a little. It's really hard to see how the life and death barrier is so thin with like the COVID-19 pandemic going on right now and the past years also. So it's like it it just make me like appreciate everything more than before with like the time spent with my family. So for the past a year and a half, I stayed here. I I got to spend more time with my family, and that's like the very best thing. Like, and I really appreciate that. And like, I get to see like Ho Chi Minh City in a new way compared to like the other time that I visit. Like, I feel like I appreciate the country as a whole like more now since I got to spend more time.
It's pretty good to have a times play with my brother and talk with my mom. It's good family time, and also I can have a like more close interaction with my family. Yeah, which are good side.
The happiest moment would be like realizing my family is still like okay after all like the COVID like crisis here in Vietnam, and like how like I get to see my family more often these days, and then like spending more time with my pets as well.
Also, it's really nice to stay with family. Yushan and V need to face various problems, like taking remote classes in different time zones.
It's pretty hard to like pay attention on study because some of class they usually happen as a middle night. I should attend to the class. That's pretty suck. It's kind of like 3 a.m. I getting up and go to the Zoom university, and yeah, I cannot concentrate on that.
For V, her biggest concern was if she could go back to the campus or not.
We begin in Vietnam, where the number of COVID-19 infections is soaring. After successfully containing outbreaks early in the pandemic, cases have skyrocketed since April. On Saturday, the capital Hanoi went into a 15-day lockdown to try and curb the wave of infections spreading from the south of Vietnam. Other regions have already extended already existing lockdowns. Vietnam's largest metro area, Ho Chi Minh City, is especially hard hit, with more than 2/3 of new daily infections.
We're under lockdown, and then like I think last week was my saddest time because like the the lockdown was supposed to like removed by 15 September, but then the government decided to extend it until 30th of September. My hope and dream of coming back to America to like continue my study is quite at a challenge state right now because they locked down again, so nothing is really open for me to like go and do my paperwork. And so I was like super, super, super depressed that time.
According to the information provided by Trinity University's Department of International Students and Scholar Services, most Trinity University's international students have already returned to the campus on fall 2021 semester. However, the Assistant Director of Center of International Engagement, Dr. Laura Rodriguez-Amaya, said the returning process for international students in 2021 is a little different from 2020.
So last year, of course, things were very chaotic. Travel was very restricted. Students were not able to process their visas. So at Trinity, the great majority of our students were studying remotely, mostly abroad, but we had some students that were studying remotely in the US. So of course that brought in a lot of challenges for them. in terms of connecting with their classes. Students had to negotiate accommodations with their professors. Luckily, professors were very understanding, and students were able to be supported in the way that they needed to be successful. But it was still challenging for many students to engage in remote learning. That wasn't something that they prefer or that aligned to the way they learn, right? So challenges with that. Or students that were studying from abroad, especially our students in some Asian countries, the change in time zone, the fact that they couldn't mail their books all the way home because that was very challenging as well. The fact that some of the platforms that we were using here in the US are not widely used in other parts of the world. That was challenging for students.
So one of my friends' like who was still in Vietnam, like have to like postpone a semester because of like the US consulate doesn't open and the school doesn't accommodate like online studying anymore. And so that's really a big problem for like her friend because they doesn't want that, but they were like within this situation, they have to do that.
When I was at my hometown, my biggest wish is that the class can be recorded and the exam can be taken by home.
Like Trinity have provided me like with online classes right now since with the pandemic and stuff I cannot return that. And so like I really appreciate them. And yeah, I think that mostly impacted my positive like thing right now.
Vietnam's Ho Chi Minh City will end nearly 3 months under a COVID-19 lockdown tomorrow. Authorities are hoping that the move will help the economy recover and restore some normalcy. Authorities have already begun removing barricades on the streets. People will be allowed to leave home and travel to other districts.
In October 2021, Vietnam finally ended the lockdown. Our interviewee, V, flew back to the United States and finally met her in person.
I feel great actually. It's been a long time since I came back here, like 2 years, and around 2 years, and I felt like as if I just came here the first time because everything is like quite new once you get outside. Because I stayed at home for like 4 or 5 months, but then like it's just feel really great to be back here. And then meeting like a lot of my relatives and families and also friends, because it feels really good to be back in person and like interacting with my classmates as well as the professor, like not through Zoom anymore. And then also like being back on campus, like attending various of events on campus and then like going to badminton club and stuff like that really like make my mood lighter and then like not as stressed as I used to before during Zoom.
I think that right now we are in a good place in terms of providing our services to international students. A little bit of concern with some of the students that were not able to enter on time to start the semester, but overall, most of our students are here on campus being successful with their classes. So right now, the expectation at the university is that we will continue to be in-person learning. We don't expect to go back to shutting down the university. Maybe the COVID protocols might change from time to time, but the expectation is that we will continue to be in person in the future.